We all seek greatness. We all desire wisdom. We all wish to master life itself. But the path is not found in chasing fortune or fame, it lies in mastering oneself. The Stoics knew this truth well. They understood that true power, intelligence, and mastery come not from the world, but from within. Here are 6 key principles to achieve this. The greatest battle a person will ever fight is not against the world, not against others, but against themselves. The Stoics understood this deeply. External forces will always be unpredictable, people will betray, wealth will fluctuate, and circumstances will shift without warning. If your peace depends on these external conditions, you will always be a slave to chance. True power lies in mastering yourself, in governing your own mind, emotions, and actions, regardless of what happens beyond your control. To master yourself, the first step is to recognize that your emotions are not reality, they are merely interpretations of it. When anger rises, it is not the situation that makes you angry, but your judgment of it. When fear paralyzes you, it is not the event itself that causes fear, but your perception of its danger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The moment you understand this truth, you reclaim power over yourself. Control of the self begins with discipline. The undisciplined mind is like a wild horse. It is impulsive, chaotic, and easily led astray by desires and distractions. But through practice and restraint, it can be tamed. A person who cannot control their appetites is ruled by them. A person who cannot master their habits is doomed to repeat them. If you seek to be unshaken in life, you must first master your impulses. This means resisting the easy pleasures that weaken the will, excessive indulgence, mindless entertainment, and fleeting gratification. These things do not make you stronger, they enslave you. True freedom comes not from doing whatever you want, but from having the strength to do what is right, even when it is difficult. Every day presents a choice: react impulsively or act with reason. The person who is ruled by their emotions is easily manipulated, angered by insults, broken by failure, desperate for validation. The master of self, however, remains steady. When others lash out, he remains calm. When misfortune strikes, he adapts. He does not complain about the storm, he adjusts his sails. This ability to remain composed under pressure is what separates the ordinary from the exceptional. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Strength is not found in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with unwavering resolve. The path to self-mastery requires introspection. Most people go through life unaware of their own weaknesses, their biases, their self-deceptions. They distract themselves with noise, afraid to face the truth. But the wise man turns inward. He examines his thoughts, questions his motives, and corrects his flaws. He does not make excuses, he takes responsibility. To know yourself is to understand both your strengths and your limitations. To master yourself is to refine them every single day. Self-mastery also demands that you let go of what you cannot control. Many people waste their energy worrying about the opinions of others, about events that have already happened, about what may or may not come. This is a form of self-inflicted suffering. No one can control the actions of others, only their own. No one can change the past, only learn from it. No one can predict the future, only prepare for it. When you stop trying to control what is outside of you and instead focus on mastering your own thoughts and actions, you become unshakable. The world will move as it pleases, but you will remain steady, free from the chaos of external events. A master of self does not seek validation, for he knows his own worth. He does not fear failure, for he understands that failure is the greatest teacher. He does not chase pleasure, for he knows that fleeting joys often lead to lasting regrets. He lives with purpose, with discipline, with unwavering resolve. He is not ruled by circumstance, he rules himself. In the end, the world will always be beyond your control. Fortune will rise and fall. People will come and go. Challenges will arise. But if you have mastered yourself, none of this will shake you. The only true victory in life is not over others, but over yourself. To conquer yourself is to be truly free. Wisdom is not found in the noise of the crowd, but in the quiet pursuit of truth. Many people mistake opinions for knowledge, believing that speaking louder or more frequently makes them wise. But wisdom is not about how much you say. It is about how much you understand. The Stoics taught that true intelligence does not come from asserting one's beliefs, but from questioning, listening, and continuously learning. The mind that seeks wisdom is always open, always humble, and always searching. A fool clings to opinions as if they were unshakable truths, unwilling to question them. The wise man, however, understands that most opinions are fleeting, shaped by emotions, biases, and limited perspectives. He does not fear being wrong, he fears being ignorant. That is why he remains open to learning, constantly refining his understanding. He does not seek to win arguments but to discover the truth. Socrates, the great philosopher who influenced Stoicism, famously said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." This is not an admission of ignorance, but of intellectual humility. The more one learns, the more one realizes how much remains unknown. The pursuit of wisdom requires patience. In an age where people crave instant validation, where opinions are formed in seconds and spread like wildfire, true understanding takes time. The wise do not rush to judgment, they observe, they reflect, and they consider multiple perspectives before forming conclusions. They understand that most people react rather than think, that emotions cloud judgment, and that true knowledge is built over time. This is why the Stoics valued self-discipline not only over actions but over thoughts. A mind that is ruled by impulse is a mind that is easily deceived. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for acquiring wisdom. Many speak not to share knowledge but to be heard, to satisfy their ego, to prove themselves right. But wisdom grows in silence. The one who listens learns. The one who speaks without understanding only strengthens his ignorance. Seneca warned, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is a mark of true wisdom. Wisdom is also about filtering the information one consumes. Not all voices deserve attention, and not all knowledge is useful. A wise person does not allow their mind to be filled with gossip, negativity, or pointless debates. They seek meaningful knowledge, lessons from history, insights from philosophy, truths that stand the test of time. They understand that the mind, like the body, becomes what it is fed. If you consume foolishness, you become foolish. If you consume wisdom, you become wise. Ultimately, seeking wisdom over opinions means valuing truth over ego. It means questioning, reflecting, and continuously striving to learn. It means being comfortable with uncertainty, with changing one's mind when faced with better evidence. True mastery of the mind is not in holding the most opinions but in holding the right ones, and knowing when to let go of the wrong ones. The difference between a person who drifts through life and one who masters it is the ability to act with purpose rather than be ruled by emotion. Emotions are fleeting, unpredictable, and often misleading. They push people toward impulsive decisions, clouding judgment and leading them astray. The Stoics understood this danger well. They did not seek to eliminate emotions but to control them, ensuring that reason and purpose guided every action. To live with purpose means acting based on principles rather than fleeting feelings, choosing discipline over impulse, and remaining steady even in the face of adversity. When a person allows emotions to dictate their choices, they become a servant to external forces. Anger makes them lash out without thinking. Fear makes them hesitate when action is needed, and desire leads them to pursue what is pleasurable rather than what is right. A person controlled by emotions is like a ship tossed by the waves, never stable, never in control. But a person who acts with purpose is like a captain steering with precision, moving steadily toward their chosen destination regardless of the storm. Living with purpose requires self-awareness. It means recognizing when emotions are influencing decisions and pausing before acting. Instead of reacting impulsively, the wise person steps back and asks, "Is this action aligned with my principles? Is this the right thing to do? Will this decision serve me in the long run?" By taking this approach, emotions lose their power to mislead. Seneca advised, Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. Strength is not in the ability to overpower others, but in the ability to master oneself. Purpose is also about consistency. The person who acts only when they feel inspired or motivated will accomplish little. The Stoic does not wait for the right mood to take action. They do what must be done regardless of how they feel. A person who acts with purpose does not seek comfort but meaning. They understand that real progress comes from steady effort, from showing up every day, whether they feel like it or not. Ultimately, to act with purpose is to live deliberately. It is to move forward with intention, guided by wisdom rather than impulse. It is to master oneself so that neither anger, fear, nor fleeting pleasure can divert the course. The one who acts with purpose is truly free, for they are no longer a slave to their emotions but the master of their fate. Hardship is not an obstacle, it is the path. The Stoics understood that suffering, challenges, and difficulties are not punishments but opportunities for growth. Life does not promise comfort or fairness, nor should it. True strength is not found in avoiding hardship, but in enduring and learning from it. Just as a blacksmith tempers steel with fire, adversity shapes the mind, forging resilience, wisdom, and discipline. Most people resist hardship, seeing it as something unfair or unnecessary. They complain, they despair, they ask, "Why me?" But the Stoic sees difficulty differently. Instead of asking why hardship has come, they ask, "What can I learn from this?" They understand that obstacles are not there to break them but to train them. The more challenges a person faces and overcomes, the stronger they become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the essence of Stoic resilience. Every hardship contains the seed of growth. Difficulties reveal who we truly are. When life is easy, it is simple to appear virtuous, disciplined, and composed. But when hardship strikes, our true nature is exposed. Do we crumble under pressure, or do we stand firm? Do we allow fear and frustration to control us, or do we respond with wisdom? The Stoic understands that hardship is a test, an opportunity to prove one's character. Seneca taught that fortune strikes those it wishes to make great, for only through trials do we become stronger. Accepting hardship as training also means embracing discomfort. Growth does not come from ease but from struggle. The body grows stronger through resistance, the mind sharpens through challenge, and the soul deepens through suffering. Avoiding difficulty leads to weakness, while facing it builds resilience. The Stoic does not seek suffering for its own sake, but when it comes, they do not shrink from it. They face it head on, knowing that every hardship overcome is another step toward mastery. Hardship is inevitable, but how we respond is our choice. We can resist it, complain about it, and let it break us, or we can embrace it, learn from it, and let it forge us into something greater. The wise choose the latter. They know that life's trials are not curses but gifts, preparing them for whatever lies ahead. In the end, hardship is not a burden. It is the training ground for strength, wisdom, and greatness. Most people spend their lives worrying about things beyond their control, what others think of them, the outcome of events, the past, the future. They waste energy on things they cannot change, allowing external forces to dictate their emotions and actions. This is a form of self-imposed suffering, a constant battle against reality. The Stoics, however, understood a fundamental truth. The only thing we truly control is ourselves, our thoughts, our choices, and our responses. To focus only on what you can control is to free yourself from unnecessary stress and to cultivate an inner strength that nothing can shake. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This simple yet profound principle is the key to peace. When we attempt to control the uncontrollable, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. We cannot control the actions of others, only how we respond to them. We cannot control the randomness of fortune, only how we adapt to it. We cannot change the past, only how we learn from it. By accepting this, we stop wasting time and energy on what is beyond us, and instead focus on mastering what is within us. Many people fall into the trap of external validation, seeking approval from others as if their worth depends on it. But no one can control how others perceive them. Some will praise you, some will criticize you, and many will misunderstand you. If your happiness depends on their opinions, you will always be at their mercy. The Stoic, however, is indifferent to praise or criticism. They act with integrity and let go of the rest, knowing that their character is defined by their actions, not by the judgments of others. Focusing on what you can control also means accepting uncertainty. The future is unknown, and no amount of worry can change that. Planning is wise, but anxiety over outcomes is wasted effort. Instead of fearing the unknown, the Stoic prepares for it, knowing that they will adapt to whatever comes. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." Most fears exist only in the mind, and by focusing only on the present moment, the only thing within our control, we free ourselves from needless distress. This mindset also applies to setbacks and failures. No one controls every outcome, but everyone controls how they respond to failure. A person who blames fate or others remains weak, but one who takes responsibility and learns from failure grows stronger. The Stoics see setbacks not as misfortunes but as lessons. They do not dwell on what could have been. They focus on what can be done now. To live with peace, clarity, and strength, one must let go of what is uncontrollable and take full ownership of what is. The world will always be uncertain, people will be unpredictable, and circumstances will shift. But through it all, the Stoic remains steady, focusing only on their own mind, actions, and choices. This is the true path to mastery, freedom, and inner peace. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They procrastinate on their dreams, delay important conversations, and assume that tomorrow will always be there. But the truth is, time is the one resource that can never be regained. Every second that passes is gone forever. The Stoics understood this deeply, and they embraced a mindset called memento mori, remember that you must die. This was not meant to be morbid or depressing, but rather a call to live fully, to act with urgency, and to never take a single day for granted. To live as if today were your last is not to live recklessly, but to live deliberately, with purpose, gratitude, and focus on what truly matters. People often postpone what is meaningful, believing there will always be another chance. They assume they will have time to fix broken relationships, pursue their passions, and become the person they aspire to be. But time is unpredictable. There is no guarantee of tomorrow, no certainty of another opportunity. Seneca wrote, "You are living as if destined to live forever. Your own frailty never occurs to you. You don't notice how much time has already passed, but squander it as though you had a full and overflowing supply. If today were truly your last, would you waste it in trivial distractions? Would you leave important words unsaid? Would you hesitate to take action on what truly matters?" Living with the awareness of death does not mean fearing it, but rather using it as motivation to live well. When you recognize that life is fleeting, you stop wasting time on pettiness, grudges, and meaningless worries. You stop chasing things that do not bring true fulfillment, wealth for the sake of wealth, approval from people who do not matter, and distractions that do not enrich the soul. Instead, you focus on what is within your control, your actions, your character, and the way you treat others. This mindset also encourages boldness. Many people hesitate to take risks, fearing failure, embarrassment, or discomfort. But if today were truly your last, would you let fear stop you? Would you hesitate to express your true thoughts, pursue your dreams, or stand by your principles? The Stoics understood that death is not something to avoid thinking about, but something that should guide how we live. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is a reminder that every moment matters. There is no time for hesitation, regret, or self-doubt, only for action, honesty, and courage. Gratitude is another key part of living as if today were your last. People often take life for granted, assuming they will always have time to appreciate what they have. But if you knew this was your final day, you would see everything differently. The warmth of the sun, the laughter of a friend, The taste of a meal, all these simple moments would take on new significance. You would cherish your relationships, express love without hesitation, and find joy in the present moment. The Stoics remind us that true wealth is not found in material possessions, but in an appreciation for what we already have. To live as if today were your last also means letting go of the past. Many people carry regrets, replaying old mistakes and wishing they had done things differently. But the past cannot be changed. The only thing within your power is how you choose to live right now. If today were all you had, you would not waste it dwelling on what went wrong. You would focus on making the most of what is left. Seneca wisely said, "While we wait for life, life passes." Every moment spent regretting the past or worrying about the future is a moment lost. In the end, the greatest tragedy is not death, but never truly living. Many reach the end of their lives only to realize they have spent most of it merely existing, following routines, and waiting for the right time to do what they really wanted. But the right time is now. The Stoic way is to live fully, fearlessly, and purposefully every single day. If today were your last, make sure you would be proud of how you spent it.